Hi guys, good day to everyone. This video is intended to discuss the next part of our research paper, which is yung tinatawag natin na statement of the problem. And to start our discussion, allow me to share my screen to everyone. There you go. So a statement of the problem, or also known as SOP, is one of the most important part of our research paper. Sabi nga nila, statement of the problem serves as the heart of our research paper. Kapag daw we failed to appropriately identify problems or questions na ilalagay natin sa ating statement of the problem, yung lahat ng mga susunod na parts ng research paper natin will be affected. With that being said, you have to be reminded, my dear researchers, that SOP is the place where the researchers are discussing the issues and gaps that they want to address on their research paper. And once that you appropriately identify good questions that you want to ask on your SOP, you will have a good foundation and clear direction towards the conduct of your research paper. Kasi in some occasions or most of the time, SOP ang nagiging basis natin kung anong type of methodology, research design ang gagamitin natin sa paper natin. And at the same time, statement of the problem also provides the readers the reason why we conduct our research paper and why our research is important and how it might contribute in the field of knowledge. So it's very important talaga na maayos yung ating SOP. Ngayon, ano ba yung mga guidelines that we have to follow when constructing our statement of the problem? The first thing that you need to understand, my dear researchers, is that what is your research objective? Ano ba yung dahilan bakit natin ginawa yung research paper na to? Ano ba yung dahilan bakit ito yung research gap na gusto nating i-address sa paper natin? And the SOP should be aligned with the objectives of the study. No? Kung ano yung objectives mo, dun mo i-align yung problem statement, no, sa iyong statement of the problem. Okay? And after nating ma-identify, after nating ma-clarify ano ba yung ating objective, we have to come up with a general problem. This general problem should present the overall problem that we want to address in our research paper. For example, napansin mo na ang daming mga factors na nakakaapekto sa academic performance ng estudyante inside the classroom. So with that, you have to come up an overall problem that can cover the main purpose and main intention of the paper. And then kapag nakapag-identify ka na ng general problem na gusto mong gawin sa paper mo, you have to narrow down this general problem into specific issues. Sabi nga nila, yung mga specific issues or specific questions that you will put on your statement of the problem should lead, no, to the general problem, no? And then at the same time, kailangan, okay, naka-align ulit sa ating objectives yung ating specific problem. Okay? And when making a statement of the problem, it is also very important that we appropriately define the scope of our problem. Huwag natin i-cover lahat. Mag-focus lamang tayo sa kung ano ba talaga yung nangangailangan ng immediate actions or ng immediate solution. For example, alam naman natin na ang isang estudyante ay merong iba't ibang macro skills. So when you want to conduct a study about macro skills, if possible sana, wag natin i-cover lahat ng macro skills. Pili lang tayo kung reading, reading, kung listening, listening, kung speaking, speaking, no? Because an appropriate scope will lead to better statement of the problem. Ulitin ko ha, an appropriate scope will lead to better statement of the problem. Kapag daw appropriate yung napili nating scope kung saan natin ipo-focus yung study natin, magiging maayos yung ating statement of the problem. Okay po? And one step at a time. Laging one step at a time. Huwag nating pagsabay-sabayin yung gusto nating pag-aralan sa paper natin kasi magiging chaotic at tayo din ang mahihirapan at the end of the study. Okay? Then after that, as a researcher, we have to be reminded that the statement of the problem should be clear and concise. Huwag nating hayaan na yung problem natin maging problematic. Problema na nga siya, magiging problematic pa. So for us to make sure that our SOP is clear and concise, kailangan clear and direct language ang ginagamit natin. Huwag tayong gumamit ng mga jargons or ng mga terminology na mahirap maintindihan. We have to make sure that our problem can be answered by our respondents and participants of the study. And pang-anim, when you make your statement of the problem, it should be researchable. Kailangan smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Sa madalit sabi, kaya siyang i-research. Baka yung questions na ginawa mo, meron ka lang 6 months para tapusin yung research paper, pero yung SOP mo pala nangangailangan ng 1 taon kasi experimental yung napili mong SOP. Okay? Na ang time frame nyo lang pala sa paggagawa ng research ay 2 semesters, tapos ang napili mong problem ay nangangailangan ng mahabang experimentation. So you have to make sure that the problems you will create is researchable. We have to consider the timeline that we have. Okay. The next step that we have to follow kapag nagagawa tayo ng statement of the problem is that according to Creswell and Creswell, kailangan daw natin i-consider kung ang paper natin ay may hypothesis. So kung meron tayong hypothesis sa paper natin or if we are planning to test an hypothesis in our research paper, which is usually ginagamit ito sa mga quantitative research pero hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon, kailangan meron tayong SOP na naka-align sa ating hypothesis. No? Kaya kung mapapansin niyo minsan, may mga SOP na, is there any significant difference? Is there any significant relationship? So those type of questions are aligned sa SOP ng isang research paper. Then another thing, kailangan din natin i-consider kung anong methodology ang gagamitin natin sa paper natin. Though it's not included here, but reminder na rin to, my dear researchers, na kung ang gagamitin ninyong methodology ay quantitative, so kailangan yung mga questions makakapag-generate ng numerical data. Kung ang inyong methodology is qualitative, most of the time, ang ginagamit natin dyan is statement of the purpose. Or kung hindi man statement of the purpose, kailangan yung mga questions natin ay usually nag-i-start sa how or minsan why. Depende. Ang what naman pwede din, depende na lang sa construction ng sentence natin. And last consideration sa paggagawa ng statement of the problem, kailangan din natin i-consider yung conceptual framework natin. No? Halimbawa, ang conceptual framework mo ay theoretical. So katulad ng nasabi ko sa inyo, ang theoretical hindi pwedeng display lang yan sa paper. Kailangan magre-reflect siya sa mga susunod na part ng paper natin. Halimbawa naman, ang inyong conceptual ay IPO, may output. So dapat meron kang SOP na magpapakita ng output na gagawin sa inyong research paper. And once that you successfully followed these steps, congratulations, magiging maayos ang inyong statement of the problem. And last thing nga pala, I forgot this one. We have to avoid yung mga tinatawag na double-barreled questions. Pag sabi nating double-barreled questions, palagi ko itong na-observe ngayon, yung isang SOP pero dalawang tanong yung ating gustong malaman. Halimbawa, what are the positive and negative effects of? Halimbawa, what are the factors and how these factors affect? So those are double-barreled questions na kailangan nating iwasan kasi mako-confuse yung mga readers natin at yung ating mga respondents and participants of the study. Paghiwalayin na natin sila in two questions. Okay po? And allow me now to show you some basic example of SOP. So itong SOP na to is taken from different reference materials na meron tayo. So they have here the label or the subtitle, statement of the problem. And yung first sentence, this one, hanggang dito, yan yung tinatawag natin na general problem, which is part ng step number 2. No? Ano yung general problem nila? This research aims to investigate the impact, no, of basic accounting skills. What is specific accounting skills? Budgeting, no? Kanino? Sa financial health ng mga government employees. So this is their specific, this is their general problem or general objective. Then after that, mula dito hanggang dito, ito na yung kanilang specific na question. Sabi ko sa inyo, a specific question should be aligned with your general problem. So tingnan natin. What are the budgeting techniques? O budgeting techniques. Di ba? Budgeting ang inaalam natin. What budgeting techniques do government employees in Batangas typically employ to effectively manage their finances? Since yun ang pinag-aaralan natin. Naka-align? Yes. Number 2, in what ways does personal budgeting affect the financial well-being? Naka-align? Yes. Kasi we want to know the impact of personal budgeting. The number 3, what are the challenges do government employees encounter? Sir, yung SOP number 3 mo, hindi naman na-mention sa general problem. Maaaring hindi siya na-mention sa general problem, pero sa kanilang objectives sa introduction, maybe na-mention nila na pag-aaralan din nila yung mga challenges. So that's the reason why they included here a question about challenges. And with that being said, kahit SOP pa lang yung ating tinitingnan, pwede na nating masabi kung anong methodology ang meron sila. And that could be quantitative at ang design ay descriptive. Kasi parang i-describe lang nila yung budgeting techniques at kung paano ito nakaka-apekto. So, more or less, quantitative, descriptive ang mga yan. And wala din silang question para sa hypothesis. So, more or less, hindi sila gagamit ng hypothesis. And wala din silang output. Tama, no? Wala silang questions for the output. So, ibig sabihin, hindi IPO ang kanilang framework. Pwedeng descriptive framework lang yung kanilang ginamit. Di ba? Kahit SOP lang yung tinitingnan ng readers, kung malinaw siyang naipapakita, ang dami niyang information na nakukuha sa paper. Okay? Let's have another question. Ito naman, taken din to from a reference materials. So, we have here the subtitle, and this is the general problem. Okay? No, ito yung general problem. And then, ito yung first question. What is the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, gender, income, and educational level? Na-mention ba yan sa general problem? Yes, demographic profiles. Nga pala, reminder, my dear researchers, this is the thing that I have learned from my teachers. Huwag daw maglalagay ng demographic profile kung hindi naman gagamitin for significant testing or significant relationship or significant difference. Gamitin lang daw ang demographic profile if you think that you're going to use that on your hypothesis testing. Okay po? So that's the reason why kailangan maging maingat tayo sa paglalagay ng demographic profile. Before kasi, kahit ang paper ay descriptive lang, naglalagay ng demographic profile. Hindi. Sabi nila, maglalagay lang ng demographic profile kung tayo ay mag-hypothesis testing. So tingnan natin kung meron silang question for hypothesis testing. So number 2, what is the purchasing behavior of the respondents? Nasabi ba sa general problem? Yeah, this one, behavior. Then number 3, what is the level of financial literacy? Na-mention ba sa general problem? Yeah, financial literacy. And number 4, is there a significant difference between the demographic profile? Yan. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina. If you have included demographic profile on your SOP, kailangan meron tayong questions para sa hypothesis. And that is SOP number 4. Is there a significant difference between the demographic profile, that is SOP number 1, and purchasing behavior of the respondents? And that is SOP number 2. Number 3, is there a significant difference between the demographic profile, SOP number 1, and the level of financial literacy of the respondents? That is SOP number 3. So kung mapapansin ninyo, meron silang SOP na naka-align sa demographic profile at more or less, naka-align din ito sa kanilang hypothesis. And with that being said, napakalinaw. Alam na agad natin kung ano yung kanilang methodology. And that is quantitative. Anong type of design? Correlational. Kasi inire-relate nila yung demographic profile with the other variables. At since meron silang question for hypothesis, alam din natin na ang paper na to ay merong hypothesis testing. Now, let's have another example. This one. This question is a type of question para naman sa mga qualitative research. And katulad ng nasabi ko sa inyo kanina, in qualitative research, hindi naman kailangan statement of the problems yung ilagay. Minsan, pwedeng statement of the purpose, SOP pa din, pero yung pinya, hindi na problem. Purpose na. At kapag ang nilagay mo ay statement of the purpose, since qualitative yung paper mo, kailangan yung mga questions na itatanong natin will be rephrased into declarative. So tingnan nyo to. Ito yung kanilang general problem. This one. Pero yung kanilang specific objectives, hindi siya pa question. Pa-declarative. Tingnan natin. The researchers want to know the motivations, the challenges, the opportunities, and the strategies. Okay po? So usually, hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon, kapag qualitative ang methodology, statement of the purpose ang inilalagay. Tapos yung kanilang specific objectives are not constructed into questions, but rather constructed into declarative. So this one is also an example of qualitative depth. But take note, kung gusto ninyong pa-questions, okay lang din yun. It depends on your purpose. Okay? It depends on your objectives. Okay? Let's have another example. This one. Statement of the problem. So, tingnan natin. This is the general problem. And ito yung specific. Okay? What is the demographic profile of high school students in terms of age, gender, socioeconomic, and grade level? And then number 2, what are the factors affecting self-efficacy of the students? So under ng self-efficacy, nag-identify sila ng dalawang sub-variables, extrinsic and intrinsic. Now, mag-focus tayo sa question na to. Kapag ganito yung format ng question, maaaring ang research paper na to, inalign nila ang kanilang SOP sa kanilang conceptual framework. And more or less, ang kanilang conceptual framework ay theoretical. Bakit? Tandaan ninyo, my dear researchers, kapag naglagay kayo ng mga sub-variables, except demographic profile, okay, this one, okay, baka kasi ma-confuse kayo, sir, yung kanina may sub-variables, hindi naman sila theoretical framework. Ano naman sila? Causal framework, kasi relationship. Meron tayong limitation. Kapag may sub-variables ang paper ninyo, maliban sa demographic profile, hindi kasama ang demographic profile. Ito yung best example. Kapag ang SOP ay mayroong sub-variable sa baba, more or less, ang kanilang conceptual framework ay theory or theoretical. Bakit? Kasi tatanungin sila dyan ng panelist. Ano ang naging basis mo para mag-identify ng factors? Para masabi mo na extrinsic at intrinsic. So hindi pwedeng personal opinion. Magagalit ang mga panelists natin. May basis dapat. At yung magiging basis natin, theory. Okay, yung theory or pag-aaral na may kinalaman sa self-efficacy at ano yung mga factors na nakakaapekto sa self-efficacy. That's the reason why they have here this one. And then aside from that, ito pa, questions to and questions din ito. So with that, pwede nating sabihin na ang paper na to ay pwede siyang maging mixed method. Bakit mixed method? Kasi meron silang questions na mag-generate ng numerical data, SOP1, SOP2, SOP4. And then, meron din kasi silang data na pwedeng gamitin sa interview, yung SOP number 3. Okay po. Pero yung SOP number 3, pwede rin siyang itanong sa quantitative. So, dalawa yung pwedeng maging options ng researchers na to. Pwedeng mixed method kasi meron naman silang SOP na for quanti at for quali. And then pwede namang pure quanti kasi yung number 3 pwede naman siyang i-replace into quantitative question. Pero ang mahalaga dito, maliwanag na ang kanilang SOP naka-align sa conceptual framework and that is theoretical framework. At maliwanag din na meron silang hypothesis dahil meron silang questions for hypothesis testing. Okay po? That's it. Last example, this one. Ito. Same lang siya ng example natin sa itaas kanina. Ang pinagkaiba lang na gusto kong bigyan ninyo ng focus ay ito. SOP number 5. Based on the findings of the study, what self-efficacy enhancement program may be proposed to enhance the self-efficacy of the students? With this example, pwede nating sabihin na dalawa yung kanilang conceptual framework. Theoretical para sa SOP number 2, no? Kasi yun ang base nila for SOP number 2. And at the same time, aside from theoretical framework, gumamit din sila na pwedeng IPO. Why? Kasi meron silang output na ipoproduce. At ano yung output nila? Self-efficacy program. So yan yung sinasabi ko sa inyo, na lahat ng parts natin nag-a-align. At kahit SOP lang yung tingnan ng readers, kung maayos na na-construct yan, ang dami nilang matututunan sa SOP. Okay? And I hope and I pray, my dear researchers, that you're able to understand our discussion regarding statement of the problem. Thank you so much.